So in this week's Creative Confidence Catch Up, today we've got Maya. Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, my name's Maya. I work under the name More Makes. I am I started out as a textile artist and now I make costume, predominantly historical costume for reenactors. Though I have hand and machine embroidery skills as well, which I do like to include in certain things, but unfortunately not not that much anymore.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because obviously we got to know each other on one of the community projects, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's incredible, honestly. If you haven't seen Maya's work, you should really check it out because she creates all these like costumes and things, and you think, yeah, like with a machine or with just a bit of hand stick, how do you actually do this? But yeah, so my first question to you today is in terms of like the embroidery side, when was it that you got into it and was it easy to get into?
I started, I think, embroidering when I was maybe 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
I got into a really bad mental health patch and couldn't, I didn't want to talk to anyone or, use the internet or do anything like that. I wanted to cut
Yeah.
myself off. So I ended up doing sewing I'd listen to like audiobooks and sew. And it'd be embroidery and clothes. But I started out doing that and that was just something to pass the time. And then I got into doing textiles at GCSE, which I was really happy with. I started out with hand embroidery and then I went on a course with my mum in machine embroidery, which is kind of like the opposite of drawing. So instead of you moving the pencil and then the paper stays still,
Mm-hmm.
you move the embroidery hoop as if it's the paper and the
Yeah.
needle, the pen stays still. So it's like a whole new thing to learn how to do. And yeah, that's how I got into it. I had some things exhibited at my local village's craft show and sold there. And I also had some in the Uttoxeter Quilt and Stitch show in the
Wow.
exhibitions. I didn't do that well, but I think I was in the wrong category, I think. But yeah, and then I went on to do embroidery and textiles at sixth form, and then eventually on to go to art college in Leek, and I did a range of costume and embroidery there.
Wow. Well, I suppose like because you were saying like just now you felt like you were in the wrong category. Sometimes you do kind of have to go through that process though, don't you? Where
Yeah,
it's like don't fit there. So what do I do now? So then you try something else, and then it's kind of finding yourself. And when you were talking about this idea of like mental health and stuff as well, do you
yeah.
find then your practice isn't just about maybe the finished products? It is about that process of doing and what it brings to your inner confidence and your self-esteem and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think sewing really, it does really help me. It gives me something to focus on. Working with your hands, as we know,
Mhm.
like from
Yeah.
various studies and stuff, does really help mental health. It gives you something to focus on, both with your mind and your hands. Um, Even when I think a lot of people, especially people with anxiety, find that even just watching something on the telly, it's nice to have like some knitting or some crochet or
Oh
anything
yeah.
like that. But I really find that it helps me. I think because I love it so much, it also helps mental health there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be just as a hobby thing to do on the side or whether it's a commission, it really improves how I feel. Even though it can be stressful when it's commission, it's still like enjoyable to do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, like with the community side of things, then, obviously, I was saying we kind of got to know each other on a community arts project, didn't we, just recently? And do you
Yeah.
find like it's really nice to kind of when you're in a community of people who understand what you're about, it's easy. Actually helps anxiety. Sometimes I've found before where people don't understand you, so it's hard to kind of like engage
Yeah.
with those groups of people. But when you find people who care, that group of
Yeah.
people, it's easier to be yourself. And do you find that?
Yeah, I really found that at school and at college. I was really felt very pushed down and having to do the style of craft that I do with costume and especially predominantly historical costume. It's not really revered in the sort of textiles community, the skill of old techniques of
Mm-hmm.
like
Oh yeah.
tailoring and things like that. So I know it's the curriculum, but I had to sort of force myself out of that, out of the technical side and into the artistic side. Not that I don't have it, but
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't quite fit me.
Yeah.
And then but I started into historical costume stuff through reenactment, and finding that community really, really helps what you do, because there's all these Facebook groups and events where you can see what other people have made, and the things I've learned from them is just amazing. Just someone just giving you a little tip, you know, in passing, or seeing what they're doing. And it's great, even I've been to quite a few Victorian balls, and even like big names in community that are really quite famous, and you meet them there, and they're like, their button popped off in the middle of it, or they're still sewing their dress like an hour before, and it gives you that sense of, oh, it's not just me. That's really lovely. It's not me failing. This is what everybody does, even the people who have got a huge following and are incredibly skilled.
Yeah, no one's perfect, Charlie. And that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes like people strive to be that person that's above them, when really sometimes you just got to kind of take a step back, don't you, and think about, actually, where have I come? And there are probably actually people who are like behind, or like younger, and they are probably looking up to you. But so really it's taking sort of just thinking about that, and so changing your mindset shift in a way.
It really does.
You're not as bad as you think you are, sort of thing.
Really. I made a dress that I had to finish really last minute for the most recent ball I went to, and I got a lot of compliments on it, and I really wasn't expecting it, because there was mistakes on it, and I knew exactly where they were, construction mistakes. And when you're around people that are really experienced in what you're doing, and they're being nice to you about it, it's really nice. It's just gave me that bit of confidence that, look, I can see a little bit of a mistake in someone else's, and it doesn't matter. I mean, especially if you look at original bits of clothing, there is pieces where they almost like a patchwork quilt of a dress, because that's what people did. And that kind of speaking to people about it and seeing, it feels awful calling them mistakes, but a bit where I think once you look at other people's things, both in art and in, you know, costume and in life, you can you notice that you stop thinking about yourself doing it so much when you notice that everybody else is. And once you learn not to criticize other people, you stop criticizing yourself so much, because you see that it's such a normal thing.
And that's the thing, like, and what, like, even though we might see our stuff as mistakes, and like you said, like when you've had things, and then people are actually complimenting you even on things that you probably see the biggest flaws in. Isn't that great when you do actually have like some, like maybe a piece that you're not so happy with, where there's something that you're really happy with, but usually the people will go towards the thing that you're the least happiest with. So that's a good thing in itself, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, it really helps going out into the community of what you love and seeing other people are, you know, just as proud or just as worried about something they've made. And it's really supportive to be able to go out and see other people and, you know, engage with them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So in terms of creative projects, have you got anything on the go at the moment, or anything that you feel that you've enjoyed the most? Anything? Can you tell us about those?
I'm working on a few commissions at the minute. I've got a Victorian corset and a range of Victorian clothes for this gentleman, which is quite daunting at the minute, but I'm really enjoying it. I've just recently acquired a workshop with another costume maker in Buxton, and that's really good to be able to have that support in the same space. And to have a separate sort of workshop away from everything is really beneficial.
So any words of encouragement, words of wisdom that you think might be of use to anybody who's watching?
I think, well, as the theme of this podcast, I think community is really, really important. Even if it's an online Facebook group, I've found so many, you can just say you're working on a project and you want some more resources. I'm so sorry about the sound of
No worries.
If you wanted to find some more resources or ask someone else's wisdom on a specific era or a specific project that you're doing, it can be really, really beneficial, especially if it's somewhere to source a certain material or some more inspirational images. I think it's really important, either in person or online, to find other people to support you. So words of encouragement with art for me is find other people that do what you do. And you're all individuals, you're all going to be different, but you may find out something really important that helps you.
That's brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on today, and it's been much appreciated.